What if the worst thing she ever did to you was the best thing that ever happened to you? Think about it. She left, she ghosted, she lost interest, and for a while you blamed yourself. You questioned your worth. You replayed every moment, every word, trying to find the crack that made her walk away. But what if I told you, the moment she took you for granted was the moment you were given the chance to become untouchable? She didn't expect you to rise. She expected you to break. She expected the late-night texts, the desperate calls, the emotional pleas, because that's what she conditioned you for. Emotional slavery disguised as love. But you're not her pet project anymore. You're a man. And now, you're going to learn to think like a Stoic and move like a ghost. Unbothered, unavailable, unshakable. In this video, I'm not here to coddle your pain. I'm here to weaponize it. We're diving deep into how heartbreak becomes your greatest advantage. We'll use stoicism, dark psychology, and brutal self-discipline to flip the narrative. This isn't about getting her back. This is about making her regret ever letting you go. So strap in. This is how you stop being the victim and become the storm. If you're done being haunted by what-ifs, if you're ready to start over without looking back, hit that like button. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment below. She lost me the moment I found myself. Number 1. The fall. You were her emotional safety net. She didn't love you. She loved the version of you that gave her comfort on command. The version that said yes when she didn't deserve it. The version that made her feel like the center of the universe, even when she treated you like an afterthought. You weren't her man. You were her emotional support system, disguised as a boyfriend. And when that role stopped giving her the high she craved, she dropped you without hesitation. See, a lot of men confuse loyalty with value. You think being consistent, being reliable, being emotionally available makes her stay. But in reality, when she knows you'll never leave, no matter how she treats you, she stops trying. She stops appreciating, because she doesn't fear losing you. And in the absence of that fear, desire dies. Let's be real, she didn't fall out of love with you. She fell out of control over you, and when a woman feels like she's in full control, emotionally, mentally, even sexually, her interest plummets. It's not right. It's not fair. But it's how human psychology works. Certainty kills curiosity. Predictability suffocates attraction. And you gave her everything. You made her your world. She made you her option. So when she left, you felt like the ground vanished under your feet. The pain wasn't just heartbreak, it was ego death. You gave so much, and it still wasn't enough. But that pain is the wake-up call, that collapse you felt. It was your foundation cracking under the weight of your own illusions. You thought love was about giving everything. But true love isn't slavery, and self-respect isn't optional. Now you have a choice. You can keep chasing ghosts, or you can face the truth. You weren't valued because you weren't scarce. You weren't respected because you weren't a challenge. That version of you. He died the moment she walked away. And from the ashes, a new version is born, one that doesn't beg, doesn't chase, and doesn't settle. Number 2, the truth hurts, but lies hurt longer. You told yourself she loved you, that it was just a phase, that she'd come back, that if you just gave it time, she'd realize what she lost. That was the lie. A lie you repeated so often, you started to believe it, not because it was true, but because it was easier than facing the brutal reality, that she saw your worth and still walked away. Here's the hard truth. The more you cling to the fantasy, the more damage you do to yourself. She's not confused. She's not figuring things out. She left because she wanted to. And maybe she replaced you before you even realized what was happening. Maybe she lined someone else up while you were still texting her goodnight. That truth cuts deep, but it's cleaner than dragging yourself through denial for months. Stoicism teaches us one thing above all else. Accept what is, not what you wish it was, not what it used to be, what is. The pain you feel isn't just about her leaving, it's about the story you built around her, the pedestal you placed her on, the lies you fed your soul just to avoid the void. But lies rot you from the inside out. They keep you stuck. They keep you begging for closure that will never come. The moment you stop lying to yourself is the moment you stop needing her apology. You don't need answers. You need truth. And the truth is, she underestimated your capacity to rise. She thought you'd drown in heartbreak. But pain is pressure. And pressure, it builds men. So ask yourself, are you done pretending she was your forever when she barely gave you the bare minimum? Or are you ready to see her for what she was, a temporary lesson in a permanent rise? Number 3, cut the cord. Stop feeding the illusion. She's not thinking about you the way you're thinking about her. That last message you sent, she read it, ignored it, maybe even laughed. And every time you check her page, stalk her stories, or reread your old texts, you're not honoring the connection. You're feeding the illusion that she still cares, that she'll come around, that there's something to save. There's not. No contact isn't just a strategy, it's survival. It's not about getting her back, it's about getting yourself back. Every second you spend watching her live without you is a second you rob from your own healing. You're trying to keep a flame alive in a house that already burned down. She's moved on, or at least she's pretending to. And that's all it takes for her to win the psychological game. Here's where dark psychology comes in. Attention is currency. Every view, every text, every call, it tells her one thing. He still wants me. And the more she knows that, the less respect she has for you. Because women don't crave what's desperate. They crave what's distant, what's unclear, what's powerful enough to walk away and mean it. The second you stop feeding the illusion, you starve her of that validation. That's when the shift begins. Cut the cord. Block her if you have to, not out of hate, but out of clarity. Because the real power move isn't exploding in anger, it's disappearing in silence. She can't miss you while you're still orbiting her world. Detach. Not to get her attention, but to reclaim your identity. Number 4, the vacuum principle. Let her feel your absence. Nature hates a vacuum. So does the human mind. When you disappear completely, when you remove your presence, your attention, your energy, she feels it. Even if she doesn't admit it. Even if she's posting pictures with someone new or laughing on her story, pretending like she's moved on. Behind the scenes, the silence starts to eat at her. Because before, you were always there, always replying, always available. Now, you're a ghost. Most men make the mistake of pulling away just enough to make her curious, but not enough to make her feel the loss. That's weakness disguised as strategy. That's hoping she notices you missing without ever truly being gone. But true power is when you vanish, not to provoke her, but to rebuild yourself. When she looks for your energy and finds emptiness, that's when regret begins to grow. This is the vacuum principle. Your absence creates space. And in that space, she's forced to confront the consequences of her decision. Not immediately, not always, obviously, but eventually. She'll start wondering where your attention went, who it's going to, what you're doing, who you're becoming. And because you're silent, because you're not feeding her ego with breadcrumbs, her mind fills in the blanks. That uncertainty, that's your leverage. Stoicism is control, not just of emotion but of attention. You no longer give yourself to people who discard you. You become a closed chapter she can't rewrite. The longer you hold that silence, the louder it echoes in her world. She thought you'd always be there. Now she's haunted by the fact that you're not. Number 5. Power in silence. Your words once built her world. Your words used to be her reality. Every good morning text, every late night call, every moment you told her she was beautiful, special, different. Those words built a world where she was queen. And she got used to it. She depended on it. Until she didn't. Until your words stopped giving her a thrill. Until the love you spoke into her became background noise, so she walked. And now? She expects more words. She expects closure, reaction, maybe even rage. But you give her none of it. That's where your power begins. Silence is the most uncomfortable answer a person can receive. because it leaves them alone with their thoughts. And for someone who thrived on your validation, your silence is terrifying. It makes her question herself, not immediately, but slowly, deeply. She starts to wonder if she mattered, if you feel anything, if you've already moved on. And that mystery, that void, it's the opposite of the control she once had. When you talk, you give away energy. When you explain, you justify her actions. When you react, you validate her power over you. But silence flips the script. It tells her she no longer has access, that you've reclaimed the one thing she never thought you'd protect, your attention. Stoics understood this. Restraint is not weakness, it's discipline. Anyone can lash out, anyone can beg, but holding your tongue when your heart is bleeding, that's strength, that's transformation. Every time you choose silence over chaos, you remind her and yourself that you're no longer the same man she left. Number 6. Rebuild in shadows. Become the man she never understood. She thought she knew you, thought she had you figured out, predictable, safe, always there, always chasing. She put you in a box and labeled it harmless. And the truth is, back then, maybe you were. Maybe you were soft for her, gentle, available. But that version of you? He's gone. He died the moment you realized she didn't value him. Now, you rebuild, in silence, in the shadows, away from her eyes and far from her expectations. This is where the real shift happens, not in the gym selfies or the Instagram quotes. It happens in the solitude, in the grind, when you hit the weights like it's war, when you build discipline like a religion, when you wake up early, move in silence, and work like a man possessed, not to prove anything to her, but to become someone who doesn't need her. That's when the power starts compounding. Dark psychology teaches us something women don't say out loud. Unpredictability is magnetic. When she sees a man she once had total control over become a mystery, she can't stop watching. She'll check your profile, ask mutual friends, test the waters. But you don't post your progress. You don't announce your comeback. You just evolve, quietly, ruthlessly. Stoicism isn't about being emotionless. It's about being emotionally bulletproof. While she's seeking attention, you're seeking mastery. And one day, she'll see a glimpse, a photo, a chance encounter, and it'll hit her. The man she left behind is now someone she'll never have access to again, not because you hate her, but because you outgrew her. Number 7. Cold attraction. Desire follows distance. You don't attract by chasing, you attract by stepping back, by removing your need to be needed. When she knew you were always one text away, she felt no urgency, no fear, no mystery. But now that you've gone cold, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, she starts to notice the silence, starts to feel your distance. And the irony? That's when the attraction begins to creep back in. It's a principle wired into human psychology. What is scarce becomes valuable. What is common becomes ignored. And back then, you were common to her. Too available, too eager. But now, you're distant, you're unavailable. And that creates space in her mind. Space she doesn't know how to fill. The texts you stopped sending, the calls you stopped making, they echo louder than anything you could have said. Women are drawn to what they can't fully understand. When you're warm, kind, open, it's easy for them to get comfortable. But when you flip the switch, when you go cold without warning, it forces a shift. Now she's watching you, not out of curiosity, but confusion. Why isn't he chasing me? Who is he talking to? What happened to the guy who used to worship me? That uncertainty is what makes her start to feel the pull again. But this time, you're not offering yourself. This time, the door stays shut. Stoicism teaches you this. Don't pursue what flees. Let it go. Stand still and let what's meant for you come back stronger, or not at all. You don't chase, you don't prove, you exist, and that's enough. Cold attraction isn't about being mean, it's about being detached, emotionally free, unavailable to games, but open to growth. That's what makes her regret leaving. That's what flips the dynamic. Number 8. The mirror shatters when she starts watching you again. At first, she ignores you, deletes your number, pretends she's fine. But weeks pass, months, and suddenly her curiosity gets louder than her pride. She checks your page, maybe from a fake account, maybe through a friend's phone. She sees you living, not just surviving, thriving. The silence she once controlled, now it controls her, because the man she thought she left behind doesn't exist anymore. This is where the mirror shatters. She expected you to stay broken. She thought you'd chase her forever, but instead, you vanished. You got colder, stronger. You rebuilt yourself in a way she can't comprehend. And now, when she sees you, there's a distance in your eyes, a calmness in your silence. She doesn't recognize you, and that terrifies her. She starts sending signals, likes an old photo, replies to a story, sends a "Hey, hope you're good" message like nothing happened. It's not love, it's confusion, regret, insecurity, because the attention she used to get without effort is gone, and now you hold the power she used to wield. Not because you're playing games, but because you're finally free of them. Dark psychology teaches us this. When you become the source of uncertainty, you become the object of obsession. And Stoicism? It teaches you not to react. Because you're no longer the boy who begged, you're the man who evolved. She can't handle that. She can't undo it. All she can do now is watch from the outside. Number 9. Emotional Aikido. Use her energy against her. She'll test you. Trust that. When she senses your detachment, your silence, your growth, your calm, she'll throw a hook, a subtle insult, a random "I miss you." Maybe she'll try to make you jealous. It's not affection, it's control. She wants to see if she can still break your center. But now, you don't bite, you don't flinch. Because you've learned the art of emotional Aikido, using her energy against her, without lifting a finger. When she comes at you with confusion, flirtation, or even guilt, you don't react, you redirect. She says, "You've changed." You say, "I had to." She tries to argue. You stay calm. She tries to flirt. You stay silent. That calmness, that lack of emotional response, it's power. It makes her spiral, not because you're cruel, but because you're no longer predictable. You're not in the emotional arena anymore. You're in control of your own battlefield. Emotional Aikido is about staying centered when chaos knocks. You don't return fire. You don't defend yourself. You simply let it pass through you. Stoicism at its core, because you've mastered the one thing she never thought you would, emotional neutrality. You're no longer swinging between hope and heartbreak. You're balanced. She can't shake that. It makes her feel powerless. The moment she realizes her words don't affect you, the moment she sees her games don't land, that's when the regret hits deepest. Not because you punished her, but because you grew past her. You became unshakable, and she became irrelevant. Number 10. The Stoic Rise. You were never meant to beg. You begged because you didn't know your worth. You chased because you were afraid to be alone. You broke because you thought love meant sacrifice, even if it meant losing yourself. But now, you see it for what it was, a test, a storm, a necessary destruction, because some versions of you have to die for the real you to emerge, and this version, the one rising from the wreckage, isn't built to chase. He's built to conquer. She thought you'd stay stuck in that heartbreak loop, thought you'd keep reaching out, hoping for closure, clinging to memories. But heartbreak was your trigger. It didn't destroy you. It stripped away everything fake. Now you're leaner, colder, sharper, not bitter, not broken, just untouchable. That's the Stoic Rise. You no longer react to loss. You learn from it. You no longer beg for love. You embody it. You become the man who doesn't need to be chosen because you choose yourself every damn time. And that's what makes her regret it all. Not the silence, not the distance, but the fact that the man she left is now the man she can't reach. You gave her love, loyalty, and peace. She wanted chaos. Now she can keep it, while you build a kingdom in peace and in power. This is the part where the story flips. Not because you waited, but because you walked, because you faced the pain head-on and didn't blink. She underestimated you, and that's fine. Let her. Because now, every step you take forward is a step into a life where she no longer belongs. So now you know, this wasn't just a breakup. This was your awakening. She thought she ended you, but she actually introduced you to the version of yourself you were always meant to become. Stoic, unshakable, detached. Not because you stopped feeling, but because you started controlling what you give your energy to. Let her regret it. Let her watch in silence. Let her feel the weight of your absence, but don't look back. Because this journey, this transformation, isn't about her. It's about you. Every scar she left behind, that's armor now. Every moment you wanted to break, that's fuel. You didn't lose her. You released what was holding you back from your evolution. Now you move forward. With discipline, with purpose, with peace. The kind of peace that comes when you no longer chase anyone who can't see your value. She took you for granted, and now she regrets everything. If this message hit home, if you felt that shift inside you, then don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button. Subscribe for more raw, no BS content. Turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. And drop a comment below. She lost me and I found myself. This is Stoic Blessing, and this is just the beginning.